Hey, what's happening? Before we jump into the show, I wanted to see if you had any music on a hard drive. You have a band, you have a project, and you want to self-release your own music. Well, there's an easy way to do it. You can go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate and go get your music up on all the streamers. You keep 100% of your royalties, and you can get 30% off by using this code. It's a great, easy way to get your music up on the streamers and share it with your fans, your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, everybody. Everyone wants to hear it. But go to distrokid.com/VIP/hyphenate, HYPHENATE, and send me the link. I want to hear it too. Send your mom the link. Send your dog the link. They all want to hear it too. Izotope is a proud sponsor of today's episode. Do you know about their new RX12? This is the way to make your audio flawless, all-in-one audio restoration. RX's 50-plus tool ecosystem is everything you need to rescue, refine, and enhance every project, blending surgical control with rapid results. Fully flexible, RX12 includes a standalone audio editing application and suite of software plugins to use in digital audio workstations. For decades, RX has pushed what's possible in audio editing and restoration, bringing out magic in every scene, song, and story. Powered by pioneering machine learning tech, it's the supporting star behind countless Oscar, Grammys, Emmys, and the winner of a Technical Academy Award. Go get this for yourself. Izotope RX12. It's out. IZOTPE.com.
So I'm like biking around this like little beach town, and there's like these weird kids hanging out in a pavilion and they're skateboarding, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then basically there's skate shops. So I venture into the skate shop and I get totally enamored with skateboarding at that summer between 5th and 6th grade.
What's happening, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to Hyphenate with me, your host, Randy Randall. This is our show for Thursday, July 23rd. Hope everybody's having a good summer. On today's show, I welcome my good friend, Mr. Rob Barber. I've known Rob a long time. His band High Places and our band No Age played a bunch of shows, but even before then, we would always hang with Rob in New York. Whenever we went to New York, he let us borrow this really cool Marshall Plexi that I think that he had, and we would I remember shoving it in the trunk of a cab. Like we'd have to go take a cab to go pick him up, to go pick up the amp, and then we would go. But we'd pick up the amp from him, shove it in the back of a cab, take it to a show, and then go play and then drop it back off. But I just felt it was such a beautiful, awesome amp. I always felt bad, but that was how people traveled around with gear. I guess then it was definitely funny. But yeah, it was always great to see Rob in New York. And then when he started High Places, we're like, well, that's awesome. I think he came to the Smell early on. He was friends with our other friends from Baltimore, B and Isaac. And, yeah, definitely. It was just one of those things like, wow, okay, now I know people that live in New York and they're from the East Coast. I was such a West Coast person. It was fun, those early days of No Age, getting to meet, friends, from different parts of the country. Oh, there it is. The Erkst. Erkst is his Instagram. The THE_URXED. And he's got a bunch of music. He's done incredible stuff with High Places. He is a designer. He's an artist. He works and travels and does all kinds of amazing stuff. Oh, he was a writer. He wrote this great piece in Thrasher magazine for No Age early on. That was huge. It was huge for us. So that's how, that's sort of the connection there. Yeah, he's got a picture of it up there. And it's funny because the photos that ran in the Thrasher article that Rob Barber wrote were taken by Aaron Farley. Look at that. How do you like them apples? It all comes full circle. So it's a funny small world. Still in touch with a lot of people. And we just played in San Pedro, my new band, Nervous Action, and Rob came out, and it was really fun to hang out in person. I think we mentioned that the show coming up, but that happened last week. And hope everybody's having a good summer. Hope everyone's playing shows, doing fun stuff, traveling, not losing their minds. It's so easy to do. But hang on to your mind. Let's get through summer. And, I'll see everybody on Monday. All right. Rob, welcome to Hyphenate. How you doing, man? What's going on?
It's good. It's really good to see you. Like, super good to see you.
It's good to see you.
And
yeah,
I'm going to see you on
it's been
Friday,
about
too.
10 years. Oh yeah. You're
8
coming to the
years.
show at the Sardine in San Pedro.
I'm very excited. It's in San Pedro. So
Yeah. Is that close to you? Are you
Yeah.
down in that neck of the woods?
no, I live like in West LA, kind of, which is weird. I'm like ungentrifying myself like slowly every time I move. So, but yeah, no, it's just kind of like, it's sort of like, you know, if I was going to drive somewhere, I feel like driving in Pedro would be kind of where I'm kind of like all about Pedro. Like, it's just kind of a cool, it's just like a mythical place. And like the fact that you guys are playing there, and I'm friends with people in Otioxie, or however you say the name.
I don't know how to pronounce it at
I'm
all.
stoked to see them too.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it's a cool bar. We played
So
there.
it's Chris.
Played there about a year ago. It's cool. It's the dude from Toys That Kill and FYP, Underground Candyland,
Todd?
Railroad to Candyland. Yeah, it's his. He's got a little like label set up
that's-
and like a record store set up in the back patio, and then he's got a deal worked out with the
that's
people
really
from
cool.
the front. Yeah.
I met that guy like decades ago with like through like Japanther or something, and I was a fan of his skateboarding. So 'cause he was a pro skater.
Really? For who?
Yeah,
Who was
yeah.
he pro
So-
for? Why am I missing this part of it?
I want to say, oh man, I don't remember, but yeah, he was a skate guy. So
Okay.
yeah.
That sounds about right. Well, this brings us. Yes, we met many moons ago through, I think, in New York with your project High Places in No Age. We were part of the indie sleaze movement, as we called it back then, right? That's what everybody referred to themselves as, indie sleaze.
I don't think
bags.
No. I don't think High Places has been pulled into that yet, but I feel like I did see you guys.
It's coming.
Like
we got a hit. It was great. I posted
think
a T-shirt on the No Age Instagram where we sold about $600 worth of T-shirts in about 30 minutes.
That's what I saw. I saw
beautiful.
I saw the T-shirt I saw the rainbow T-shirt get pulled into that whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're a little after that. I think we're like a little
in there,
bit
man.
later.
I don't know. You could try. You could try to escape it, but they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you guys.
We get stuck with the freak. We get stuck with the freak folk thing a lot, which is weird.
Okay. What not neo rave or new rave? I would call you guys more new rave. Remember that was trying to be a thing that the British were starting, like CSS.
Yeah.
And, what was the band? There was a boy band.
I think
in England.
We were like way too much like more like tie dye, and like, you know, we were using like folk instruments that were like treated. Right. You know. We actually met before that, to be honest with you.
Oh, tell me.
I was in a band. You know Isaac Ramos?
Oh, yes, Dog and Pony.
You know Isaac Ramos?
Of course.
Right. So we had a band called Bad Waste. Oh. And we played The Smell we played a show that was like, I feel like I might have met you at a show. I know I met Dean at the show, but it was like
with Beatrix, or it was bar band.
Yeah, I don't think Dog and Pony. I don't think Bad Waste ever played a show that Bar did not play.
Okay.
Like, I think every show Bad Waste played, Bar played, because but we played the Smell with Mika Miko. I think maybe it was like Kate's first show drumming.
Okay.
And then we played, and it was like Shady Ladies, and I think Spider in the Webs.
Ooh,
that would have been like 200004.
Okay, I'm sure it was there.
And then I remember.
Spider in the Webs played like a backyard party. Played a backyard party. Spider in the Webs with Mika Miko, I think, in like Boyle Heights. I wonder if it was that same tour.
It might have been like a second, probably the same.
Yeah.
And then, and then I mean, I met you in Wives, like,
really,
because I knew Roy already. Yeah, because when Roy joined Wives, I had already known Roy because I had Bad Waste had played a bunch of shows with the Sneeze, which was Dustin's band
before
with
Best Friend, or after Best Friends. There's Best Friends.
Way before.
The Sneeze was before.
Yeah, this was like
God.
Yeah, and so Roy played in the Sneeze, and that's when I met. Yeah. No, well, selectively, but yeah, I mean, for sure. And so I met you. I mean, I might have talked to Dean more because I think for the longest time Dean had me in his phone as Rob Badwaste forever, like as like at a contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I met, and then you guys played in New York Wives with Roy, and I think I took you guys afterwards to Punjabi Deli on First and First.
That sounds right.
Do you remember Punjabi Deli?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. I remember Dean being excited about the food, but I had this kind of like Oscar the Grouch sort of fantasy where I remember I would just get like a 40 in a paper bag and sit on the stoop next to Punjabi Deli, maybe get a samosa. But I was really just into this. For some reason, I felt like New York felt like Disneyland to me, and I think still kind of does, or still sort of is. But I had this feeling that I was like, oh, you could just like drink like 40s in public. And you can't. It was illegal always. But for some reason, I feel like I through my white privilege or just my like obnoxiousness, enjoyed that element of New York. I mean, like, there's so many people out. Who cares?
Way before that, I mean, like when I was a teenager, I mean, because I kind of was like sort of back and forth with like Philadelphia and then up to New York and then, but it was like, I mean, I didn't drink really, but friends were getting served at bars at like 14, 15. That was like, back in like the late 80s. So like, that was like, I mean, that's like it was pretty low. And like, you could just go into a bodega and buy 40s. No one cared.
Amazing.
Yeah. But, I mean, so
that was kind of the feeling I had, because I remember going there being underage or just barely of age. And yeah, it was great. It was like, you could just drink everywhere. It felt like Europe, because I remember going to Europe and it was just sort of like, you drink wine in the park. Of course. Who cares?
Yeah, I feel like you guys played Tonic, that Punjabi Deli show. Do you remember playing Tonic?
I do. Yeah, we played Tonic a couple times.
Maybe
we played with Japanther.
Fast Forward.
At least once.
Fast Forward?
Fast Forward.
Did you play with Fast Forward?
No, with Kundo. Fast Forward.
Yeah.
I don't think we would have.
Maybe not.
We played with Pixel Tan. There is that right?
Yeah. And most underrated. It could be.
Yeah. Played Pixelton and then maybe Hasham doing something. I think we did that.
Yeah, well, Hasham was in Pixelton.
Okay, maybe that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonic was super cool. They were nice to us from like early days of Wives. It was like the official venue that would actually book weirdos like us. And
it was kind of the only spot in Manhattan at that point.
For the weirdos?
I think our sound is way off for a second.
I think so too. Yeah. Here, should we try turning the camera off? This might turn it more into a talk show. Here, I'm gonna turn my camera off.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
So
yeah.
I just turn.
You just on the, there should be there. Yeah. Does this feel more in sync?
Yeah, because I could hear myself on your end coming back.
Oh, that's not good. How's this?
Yeah.
Is this better? Do you still hear that bounce back?
Let me see.
Check.
No, I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, cool. Okay, that works.
Yeah, I think we're lined up.
Okay, it's not a perfect. Okay. that's what the preamble's for. Always try to give the.
Okay.
Okay, coming back in. What? Oh yeah. So Tonic. Okay, but I want to get back to where does the Rob Barber story start? Where did you grow up, and how did you first get into music?
I was born in Philadelphia. And then how did I get into like weird music?
Or just music at all? I don't know. What were your parents listening to? Like how did you first start like noticing like, ooh, I like music. What's up with this? My
parents are way older. So they were born, I mean, I was born in 74.
Okay.
And they were married in 1959.
Oh shit.
So they're kind of like pre-rock and roll. Yeah. So they were like pre-rock and roll.
That's interesting.
And then also my dad was like kind of career military and like, Catholic and Polish.
Did you have other siblings?
Like, they weren't.
How many other siblings did you have?
So they were pre-rock and roll. My dad did like the Beach Boys. So that was like the one caveat that was sort of like where we had overlap. And then he kind of, but then my brother, he's 6 years older than me. So that's like a huge difference. And so he, so I kind of inherited his weird, like I had all these like records I got from him that he didn't want anymore.
So he's like
when
68,
I was like,
right? Or 69, 68.
Yeah, he's 68. Yeah.
Born in 68. So then he's graduating in like 87 or 80.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah. Coming of age in the Van Halen sort of knack or what was,
Yeah, so he's like, he was like big on, I mean, the records I got from him were like, K-Tel Records. They were like,
right.
they would put out like samplers of like hot hits of like 1977. And I'm like getting us in like, the early 80s. And I'm like 6 or 7 years old. And I had this so I would like listen to the records. And so, but I was kind of attracted to anything.
Bay City Rollers.
Kind of.
We,
For sure.
We just looked up.
I inherited
sorry. We just looked up the like 100 greatest hits according to Billboard in 1976. So it was doing a 50-year look back for this summer, and the number one song was "Silly Love Songs" by Paul McCartney, Wings.
I'll accept that. There's that kind of era is kind of I'll accept that. But so no, this was sort of like and also like I inherited like Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, stuff like. So it was like way after the fact. So, and then the first record, but I was kind of like into like anything I heard on the radio that was like a little weird. Like even like the backing vocals, like the backup vocals in like Give Me the Night by George Benson. There's these like creepy, those creepy female backup vocals. So I'd be like, what's that? So I'd kind of be like into like weird sounds in music. And then, I mean, the first record I bought, like I basically got on my own, like as a present, whatever. That was my choice, was like Thriller, which is pretty lame.
Well, hey, I mean, you would have been like 10 or 9.
I was 82, so I was probably like 8.
Was Thriller 82? Really?
I think it was 82.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I want to put that in 84, but yeah.
And then right after that, it was just like I went straight into like Van Halen and like Quiet Riot and Judas Priest and metal. And then this is like, like 82. Later elementary school. But I was like super into it. And then at the same time, like breakdancing in Philadelphia, New York was huge. I don't know how big it was out here yet by that point in LA, but like Philadelphia, New York, it was massive. So like I was getting, Herbie Hancock Rocket came out and then I mean that's the greatest music video ever made.
That is great. I was going to say the George Benson one is really good too. Give Me the Night. He's like roller skating in Venice, and that's pretty epic.
But the video
Rocket is like ahead of its time. That was like a product like of MTV, for MTV, by MTV,
right.
Sort of like in that world of like puppetry and futurism and robots.
It's such a sick. It's like totally like an industrial music thing.
Is that
totally weird,
is that scratch a sample? Was that the one where there was some like famous scratch from the time that had just become sampled, and it was so there wasn't there was like only like one or two like actual scratches of a lot of those early 80s
it's like
things. It wasn't like somebody was doing that same scratch every time. It's like it was taken from one collection of sounds and it was just placed on all these other records.
It's that really like down phased sample. It's like
yes,
that one, and it was like they would basically, that was the one.
For some reason, I always thought like those were somebody was just doing that, like someone like you'd emulate a guitar riff, like I'm going to play my version of that riff, or like or a pick scratch, or like a but I feel like with those scratches they were just taken. There was like a sample pack or something at the time.
Someone probably put it on like a dub plate or put it on and then that was kind of where it came from. But I don't know the exact origin, but I think
it was like a symphony hit too, right? Wasn't there another one of those things that was just like a symphony, like dung? I think it maybe was put on a keyboard thing. It was just like there's just like one symphony. It was like one note from one like classical record, and it's just like okay, that's the note, and then they like pitched it up and down. But it was just this like one.
This is also when the Fairlight came out too.
Right.
I mean, this is right around.
There's that great video
when that came out,
of Herbie Hancock and Quincy Jones going over all that stuff. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great
for sure. And then you had like. Yeah, I mean, then everyone started using it, like from Peter Gabriel to whoever, and it was like so. I was into that, but as far as like me getting into like really kind of like out like sort of non-conventional music or whatever, I mean, it was the typical like Thrasher.
Oh, okay.
Avenue.
Reading Thrasher and finding
it was
out about bands from the West Coast.
Yeah, like fifth grade. Yeah, exactly. Fifth grade was like my parents. So bought a summer house in Ocean City, New Jersey. It was like this abandoned house that we basically gutted. It was tiny. It was like a bungalow, and it was like $30,000, and it was a bit abandoned for like 9 years. And this is sort of like Ocean City's kind of like, it's like Manhattan Beach, where it was like, it used to be kind of like this blue collar area. And then now it's super expensive. So like they bought it when it was still kind of like cheap. So they bought this house for like $30,000, and we basically gutted it. So now I'm down the shore, and Ocean City which is what we call the Jersey Shore. And 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 so there's like, so now there's like, there's a boardwalk, and it kind of felt like, to my impression, this is like, I guess before Lost Boys came out, but it was like when Lost Boys came out, I was like, holy shit, this is like totally
life
like Ocean City. Cause there was
on the boardwalk.
Cause I was like, I didn't know any kids. So I was like, I'd like bike around and I'd see these like weird kids hanging out like in a pavilion on the boardwalk, and they had skateboards.
This is pre-Love Park. This is street before street skating. This was still bowls and ramps. Yeah. Would you see your favorite Doors cover band, the Crystal Shits? No, that's the opening rap from Bitch and Camaro for the Dead Milkmen. Oh yeah, we're going to the shore. Oh, I was gonna see my favorite Doors cover band, the Crystal Shits. Oh, that's cool. But weren't you gonna ask me about how I got there? Okay. Anyway, sorry, I was interrupting you and going down my Jersey Shore riff from the Dead Milkmen. All everything I know about Philly is from the Dead Milkmen.
Okay, so yeah, so my parents bought this place for, just to recap, because I think I lost this. Bought this place for like $30,000. It was abandoned for like 9 years. It was this tiny little bungalow. We rebuilt, like basically gutted it to the frame and redid it like ourselves. And I'm like, don't know anybody, so I'm like biking around this like little beach town, and there's like these weird kids hanging out in a pavilion, and they're skateboarding, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then basically there's skate shops. So I venture into the skate shop, and I get totally enamored with skateboarding at that summer between 5th and 6th grade. And so you pick up Thrasher, and back then it was like tons of mail order. They were giving away records with like subscriptions, and there's tons of t-shirt. So I was kind of like really sucked into like, what are all these band t-shirts,
Zorlak.
The Zorlak thing.
Like those brands, yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember like writing down like every band that I saw that I thought was like a punk band. And so like I was just writing down everything, and I was like, and I remember like the list had like, it was like 10,000 Maniacs, it was just like, I was like, that band must be,
that sounds gnarly.
They must be like totally insane sounding, you know what I mean? And so it was like, so I was like writing down anything that just seemed like it would be like a punk band. So I was kind of obsessive on that level. I got a notebook where I would just write down like Squeeze. That's a weird name. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And so I basically was like, Thrasher was kind of like my entryway into it. And then the cool thing about like the sort of Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York core, like, so New Jersey's kind of like the Orange County of like Philadelphia and New York. It's sort of like if, I hate to make these comparisons, but if like LA is New York and Philadelphia is like San Diego, then like New Jersey's kind of like Orange County. It's sort of like this weird bridge, but it has its own scene, right? So
yeah,
and like there were like really good college radio stations. So what happened was, I think I started school like in 6th grade, like junior high, and I don't remember how I found out about it. I don't know if there was a kid on my bus that I used to take the bus to school, and he was like into punk, and he was like telling me about stuff too. And he was like, oh, there's cool radio stations. Like Princeton University has an amazing radio station, and like Drexel University has a really good one. And then I realized NYU had a good one, and their range was kind of crazy. And so like in the Northeast part, area of Philadelphia and that Northeast zone, you could kind of get a lot of different radio. Trenton State University had a really good radio station that would play like punk and alternative and college rock at the time. And so I remember being like, I was like in like 6th grade, and I was basically like kind of like basically I was kind of like just changing dials until I found something cool between the stations. And not every show would be like weird, but like some shows would be like reggae or something, or ska, but then you would find like the one hardcore show or the one like punk show. And so I just would kind of like hit record and then usually fall asleep, because the shows were usually at night. And I'd wake up in the morning, and when I was like taking the bus or walking to school, I would just like listen to what I recorded the night before. And so that was kind of like, 6th grade era. And then there was some kids in my junior high that were like, had older brothers or older siblings that were into it. So that, people would be like, oh, you should check out this band. And there was a kid on my bus who, he basically, I think he taped me, like he made a tape for me that one side was like My War, and the other side was 7 Seconds Walk Together, Rock Together. So it's like,
whoa.
Yeah. I mean, it's, if you think about like the complete sort of, duality of that tape from side one to side
the whole record of My War, both sides.
Both sides,
on one side,
yeah. So you have on one side you have like the heaviest, darkest, most like just like, and then
it was like four records in one tape,
right? And then 7 seconds on the other side is just like the complete polar opposite, just like positivity and like So it was kind of cool to like have that, because I probably related more to 7 seconds, but definitely like I actually was like I would listen to like this side 2 of My War probably more than the first side, and I was just like, wow. I would like listen to it and like punch myself in the thighs until I had like bruises and stuff. It was like, it was weird. It was a pretty intense thing to like get into. So that was kind of, pretty much it. And then, my grandparents, my parents moved a little bit more northeast because the base he was stationed at was like more northeast, but my grandparents and all my relatives all lived in this one neighborhood which was like, and they were like right by Subway, and I could like my cousins and I could like take the subway down to where like this area South Street, which was probably like your guys' Melrose back then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah. And so like so now it was like you could go to like there were these the weird like I said, Melrose probably had it too, but we had like stores like Zipperhead and all these weird stores. It's kind of like St. Mark's, and then we would have like school trips to like New York too, and so like it was just kind of like the whole area just kind of felt compact. So this is sort of before you can actually like get to a show, but you're like getting fully into it, So and then there was a lot happening. So like because this was sort of like the era of like kind of like the New York hardcore kind of era, which was like, so the bands that were around that period were sort of like, they were just like everybody was less like that. I knew was like aware of those bands, you know what I mean? Because it was just like they were playing shows at like VFW halls and playing Philadelphia. Philadelphia was a little behind sometimes with the scene. Like it wasn't until like much later that I realized there was a bunch of really cool bands that like I completely missed out on because I just wasn't aware of it, or it was like before my getting into it. But at the time, it felt like Philadelphia had good shows, but it wasn't like they didn't have a lot of like pivotal important bands like looking back, So, but yeah,
but this is in that New York hardcore and then into like crossover metal stuff to come. Yeah.
And then when I was a little older, like, and someone had an older brother who could drive us to shows. Do you know about City Gardens? Have you heard of City Gardens?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. There was there a documentary or Jon Stewart waited, or was a bartender there? Or was a thing?
He was a bartender there. Yeah. And so, that was actually really easy to get to. Like Trenton is just across the bridge from like the northeast part of Philadelphia in New Jersey. And it was in a really wild part of town, but they had insane shows. Like, so like it was, I think they stopped doing shows in like, I want to say like the mid 90s, but I think I sort of stopped going there more like in the early 90s, but I think it was, there was some like really important shows that happened there, and that was like really actually super easy to get to, you know what I mean? So like,
that's cool.
I mean, even like not just like hardcore, cause I was into like anything weird. So like I remember, like seeing like one weird show I was just talking to an old friend about. It was just like, it was like Faith No More opening the show, and then Soundgarden playing second, and then Voivod headlining. So so it was sort of like that sort of gives you an idea of like when this was. Like both those bands hadn't blown up yet. And so it was, and it was totally annoying because like we went to see Voivod and had to sit through Faith No More, who was like newish at that point. And we were like, I don't know about this, but they were just about to get huge. And then I was a fan of Soundgarden by that point, but they had only, at that point, Soundgarden probably only had like, I don't know. I think they were probably like Louder Than Love. Maybe that was that era. So it was like, they were cool.
Okay.
But so like there was weird shows, but then you'd have, I saw like the Ramones there, which they were kind of past their prime, but it was still kind of, it was, they were at that point, they were probably, they'd been around for like a decade or so, but it was still pretty pivotal. I saw My Buddy Valentine. No, I didn't see My Buddy Valentine there. I saw them somewhere else. But yeah,
Whoa.
but yeah, they had,
Was that with Dinosaur Jr.
yeah, that tour.
On that tour?
But I actually saw them in Philadelphia at this place at Trocadero. But but yeah, I mean, so yeah, there was like a lot. It was a good place to be, and then having like public transit and trains and stuff to get around, and going back and forth. As I even got a little older, like then it was like, you know, venturing, going up to New York City, and it was you could hop on the train and go back and forth super easy. It's actually like way closer than San Diego is to LA. It's actually considerably closer. So like going between the two cities is like super easy, and cheap. So that was kind of amazing too. So that was kind of my foray into it. But then, you know, and then in college is sort of, I guess that's when I started getting involved in stuff, I guess. So like that's when I started putting
like
on
playing
shows.
Music. Oh,
no, I wasn't
putting on shows. Okay.
Yeah, I bought a guitar, but I wasn't, and I played with people and like sort of like, you know, would mess around and jam with people sometimes, but I just wasn't very confident. But like my roommates and stuff were all in bands, and I started doing shows. So like the first show I did it at the school. It was like an animal rights benefit. Like I think Born Against headlined, I think. And that was actually the Born Against lineup with Brooks. So playing drums.
That's cool.
And then yeah, so and then my roommate was like completely into another style of like hardcore. And I was kind of starting to get a little bit out of hardcore. I was starting to get into like, you know, I was getting into like the Boredoms had just kind of started playing, and I was like, there was like a lot of weird, like, you know, sort of more experimental bands I was getting into, but I still had like all my friends were still involved in hardcore. So it was sort of like I was still kind of hardcore adjacent, but I was doing shows that were like really like, you know, a lot of range to them, because the other guy I was doing shows with, like he played in a band called Turmoil, and they were kind of like more like noisy kind of metalcore kind of band. And they were like on Century Media. They were pretty well known, but like he was getting like, you know, this was like now into the 90s. He was getting bands I wasn't super into, but everybody was nice, you know? So we would try to like just do like really diverse shows, you know? And that was kind of when I started actually being more like less shy, because I was like painfully shy prior to that. So, and
were these like basement shows, or you just have them in your living room, or what was the show setup situation?
I was doing them. I went to this art school in Philadelphia, and I was doing them at the school. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they were crazy. Like, it would be like, you know, we would book like the Cro-Mags or something, and then we'd have like, you know, like it was just like the lineups were like all over. It was like anything that fell within like the sort of like confines of like punk or hardcore, we would kind of book the shows. And I tended to be a little more like crusty, sort of ebullition-y kind of style of stuff, and my roommate was kind of pulling more from like kind of like, you know, he would book like Earth Crisis or something like that. You know, this is like now into the 90s, you know. so it was kind of, and then I lived, you know, like I was living in a house with, do you know that band Ink and Dagger? Yeah. So I lived with them when that was wild. It was like 19 people, like in we had like a whole brownstone basically that wasn't like carved up into apartments. And that was like when like Eric Wareheim was in Ink and Dagger and stuff. It was a pretty, so that was, you know, that's more like mid 90s now. So, but
wild.
Yeah. So that was, basically my one roommate put it was the social high point and low point of his life. And I would agree with that. It was everyone who was like straight edge was getting into like hard drugs, and it was getting weird. So, and then I basically just bailed and moved to New York and sort of didn't go back to Philadelphia for a long time. So, because everyone was just, it was just getting like really wild. Like it was just like a lot of drugs, and I just didn't relate to it. So, and also I was going to grad school at that point. So,
what were you going to grad school for?
Oh, I was like fine art across the board. I did like 6 years of, like basically fine art, undergrad and grad. So,
okay.
I was studying printmaking. And so like I was mostly doing like etching and lithography and that type of stuff. So that's actually when I met you, that's what I was teaching. I taught at Pratt when I met you. So that.
Oh, right. Yes. I remember that. I remember, you being a teacher.
Yeah. So that was kind of where I went to. So.
Amazing. And then were you involved in like the art scene and everything too that was happening in Philadelphia? Like, what was it? Space 1020?
1026. Well, that's what's so
1026. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would have totally forgot.
Yeah.
So I went to, do you know Andrew Jeffrey Wright? Did you ever meet him? Or
yeah, I remember. I know his art. I don't know if we met.
So I went to school with like Andrew Jeffrey Wright and like Adam Wolokovich and I don't know if you know him, but he was definitely in kind of
just he's the tentacles.
Yep.
And the kind of like chandelier stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And he did a lot of photo stuff, like skate world stuff. And so a lot of, yeah. So, and then, there was a bunch of people in Philadelphia, but the thing was, it was like, right. I left in 96. I just was like, goodbye. And just like totally, cause it was just like, I was starting grad school and I just kind of was like I said, it was I just didn't really feel like I fit in. And, it was just, I just kind of was like ready for a change. And, I really missed a lot of people that I like was really tight with, but it wasn't like I hated everybody. It was just more like, I just was like, I think I really want to change. So I moved to New York, which when you live in Philadelphia, because they're so close together, right? And people call like Philadelphia, like the sixth borough and stuff like that. Like Philadelphia has a massive chip on its shoulder about New York City. So like moving to New York from Philadelphia is like a cardinal sin. So I moved up there to go to grad school, but right when I did that is when kind of like Andrew and all them sort of started doing 1026. So that was sort of when it blew.
Got it.
And this is sort of like, so this is now like, we're pushing into like the 1026 and kind of like now Fort Thunder starts happening up in Providence and that world.
Right.
And so basically the art world like completely shifted, but I kind of was I was always like really shy and, I was like meeting people and I knew people, but I definitely was like, felt like I was kind of like, it definitely was like, I was kind of observing. I was kind of always up with the exception of doing shows. Like when I was in Philadelphia, like earlier 90s, I was kind of a wallflower a lot of the time with stuff, but, I was meeting people and that was a huge influence though on like, and then, Beatrice was that intern at Alleged then, like this is
right.
pushing into late 90s. So that whole thing started happening. So there was now this sort of 1026 in Philadelphia, the whole mission thing out in San Francisco. And, LA was starting, it was sort of post Jabberjaw that was starting to happen. And then you had, and then RISD was happening in Fort Thunder. And then it was like, around like 99 or so is when everybody kind of then converged onto New York from RISD. A lot of people, at least, like the Black Dice guys and stuff kind of, and people,
sure.
That's sort of like New York was a little bit behind the curve on this, even though Alleged was there. It was sort of like, there's all this stuff. It was a little bit, I don't know if it was behind, but maybe it wasn't behind, but it basically, yeah, people started kind of like moving to New York. It seemed like maybe around like 99, 2000. It started really kind of, right. That was when that kind of, and that was like a totally, like the millennium was like a total game changer. Cause now it was like, I grew up like when I was going to art school at that point, it was all like, it was all these artists. It was like, like anyone doing anything weird was like dismissed. And, it was like, make slides of your work, like physical slides and take them to galleries and try to find representation. And it just seemed awful. And then basically that whole kind of like, Providence mission 1026 world just kind of like just turned it upside down. And we're like, we're going to make weird comics and do weird bands.
It's DIY and everyone's, we're throwing parties and we're paying rent and we're figuring it out.
Yeah. And then what was funny is by like 2000, then suddenly the actual art world like honed in on that whole world, and yeah. And then that was when like, I remember like, I think it was like 2001, maybe Whitney Biennial was like, everybody was in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like everybody from that world was like
the kids were taking over.
Oh yeah. The kids had their say for sure. That was the year that was like, Margaret Allen and Chris and Johansson, everybody was like in that biennial. So that was sort of, that was a huge pivotal shift. So that was sort of when I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Like you can do anything. Like it wasn't like this codified kind of like hardcore thing or even like indie rock thing. It was kind of like, it was like, it was like suddenly it was just like anything goes, and that's sort of when I started like meeting people, like, like really actually like feeling like I was like, I had sort of from Philadelphia to New York, there was a couple of years where I just kind of felt like I was underground. Like I was like going to grad school and like really being kind of shy. And then it was like around that period, around the millennium, when started like connecting with people. And then I started teaching at Pratt shortly after that too. And, you know, the kids that were at Pratt, like I was only a couple of years older than them because I was so young when I started teaching there. So I was meeting people like Ian from Japanther and Matt and Kim, and like all those guys were like at Pratt when I was teaching there, and they were only like a few years younger than me, you know. So it was kind of cool. So yeah, it was an interesting point, and that was sort of like when I started making. Actually, it's funny. I started making music like just at home, probably in like '98. I bought like my first Mac, and I was doing graphic design stuff, and I basically bought this program that was like made by Symantec, Norton Antivirus company, and it was like it was called SoundMaker Pro, and it was just
Okay.
1.0. Like they never made like anything beyond 1.0, and it was literally like a really, really like super budget like Audacity. Like it came on 2 floppy disks, and that was what I used all the way up through the first couple of High Places records. It was like it had to be like in System 8, so like High Places was recording in like OS 8. You know what I mean? It was kind of,
that's funny.
Yeah, it was really stubborn. But it was this really cool program that all it did was just like capture sound, and like all you could do was like cut and paste it. Like it was basically like text edit. I mean, it was more rudimentary than like Sound Edit 16 or any of those, or Audacity. So it was like, so that's when I started making music at home, but I wasn't sharing it. And then for some reason, Ian from Japanther, I started playing in a band with him. And it was sort of like kind of like Blue Cheer sort of filtered through like Load Records. And he I don't know why, he just was like, hey, do you want to make music? And I was playing guitar. And then so I recorded us, and actually Devin from Pixeltan Devin Flynn, the animator.
Yeah.
He actually recorded that stuff I did with Ian. But then
what was that project called?
Oh, it was called Plastic Casket.
Okay.
Yeah, we played like 3 shows, and then I just was like, I had horrible, basically everybody, you know, essentially like was always sort of like, kind of like, you should do a thing. And I'm like, okay. And then I would just like finally do something. And it wasn't like I had like a lack of recorded output or anything. It just was kind of like, you know, it was just kind of like people would just sort of need to sort of prod me a little bit to do it, you know? And so like so I'm not sure where it cut me off, but anyway, so I was talking about that show we played in Pico Union at the gallery, and it was like that you put on. And that was, it was a good one, because that's where I met, I'm pretty sure that's where I met Rob Lowe. He thinks we met earlier than that, like when he was in 90 Day Men, but I don't think so. But,
I mean, he's done so much stuff for so long. He's so prolific.
That was a cool show. So that was probably like our 4th show or something, or, you know.
And then you were writing for Thrasher also, right? Because you wrote a piece about No Age for Thrasher around that time.
Oh, right. Yeah. I did. I was doing some interview. A really good friend of mine was art directing, or he was like the main designer there for them in Juxtapose. And he was just like, you should do some interviews. And so I think I interviewed you like on that first trip out. I think it was like one of your first interviews.
Yeah, no, we were so stoked to have something run for Thrasher.
Yeah, because I interviewed Barr too, and I remember apparently, like it was sort of like, what's his face? Oh God, why am I forgetting his name? The editor, rest in peace. Boston Crew guy. Why am I totally forgetting his name? I can picture his face. Anyway,
yeah,
totally. I can't believe anyway,
Jake Phelps.
Thank you, Jake Phelps.
Yeah,
I was like Skip Spence, and I'm like, why? I don't know why I was.
No,
but yeah, no, yeah, he was like kind of like, what is this? And like, oh no, Ed Templeton photos. You know, he was just like, oh God. He was like, he thought it was like not really like on brand or whatever. The bar stuff, not you guys, but like,
right.
Yeah, and so, but anyway, yeah, but then, I did, but then you guys, and I remember trying to describe you guys in the blurb, and I was like, I have no idea what this band sounds like. This is amazing. It's sort of like, I can't remember what I said. I remember it was like, I don't know, if I had to align with what I thought you guys were doing, it was like sort of like swell mapsy kind of maybe, but it was something newer. And so, yeah, that was cool. But I remember I interviewed you guys with, what should I call it? Like, I think I used like a video camera to like record the audio just cause I didn't have any way to.
Oh, that's funny.
Like I just had like a handy cam. And then the interview, I remember like don't take this away, but like the answers were so long. Like I would ask her, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like a too fast."
Edit this down
because it's like 2 pages. It's like a spread basically at the most. So, and then I remember, I think I had to be like, "Hey, can we do an email interview?" Because it was just like way too long. I think we redid it too because I was just like, "Oh my god, this will take forever for me to like transcribe." And we were
learning,
right?
Learning in process.
Oh yeah, right? For sure. And so I think we ended up doing it twice, but yeah, it was cool. I'm glad I had that period. It was one weird little, what do you call it? Accolade that kind of comes full circle.
Oh yeah. It was huge for us. I think it definitely was a feather in our cap early on to be like, okay, we got in Thrasher.
Yeah.
We're figuring this thing out. This thing's going to work. Because I think a lot of No Age felt like a con for us, or just the fake it till you make it. Mm-hmm. I think we had so much ambition with Wives, but also so much like, just running face first into every obstacle mm-hmm. and going, oh, okay, don't do that again. And so I think the No Age sort of reinvention was trying to be smarter mm-hmm. than, and the work smarter, not harder. And so it was fun, getting to take advantage of those opportunities. Like, yes, we want to be in Thrasher.
Who would?
This will help.
Who wouldn't? Yeah. I mean, that was the thing. I remember like we did like an interview on like Punk Planet, and that was pretty weird. We were like, that's cool. Like I was that's like almost as cool as like Maximum Rock and Roll maybe, but I think it was like, it was definitely like, for me, it was like without Thrasher, like we wouldn't even be having this conversation because that was literally year zero was Thrasher for sure.
Yeah.
For me, that was the thing I was just like, that got me completely into like anything that was outside normal civilization. So yeah. So to actually to write for them was like totally like, oh, this is amazing. This is the coolest thing ever. So.
So cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm a few years younger, but I remember the first magazine I had a subscription to was Slap. Mm-hmm. I remember it was like $10 a year or something.
Oh, I know. And
like 12 magazines for the year. And I was just, I was probably 13.
Right. Slap was awesome.
Like cool. And I had a subscription for Slap for at least 10 years.
Yeah, Slap.
And if not longer, till they finally closed. I think I had a whole run of it. And I recently donated it. Leo Romero, I had all these magazines, and Leo hooked me up with his buddy who does skate libraries.
Oh, cool.
And he'll take people's whole collections and then go install them at like different skate shops or different like skate areas. And so you kind of get like, I think, he took mine somewhere. And I was like, oh, that was awesome. I'm glad, because I didn't want to just throw them in the trash. It's like you collect these things and move with boxes of old magazines,
Oh, yeah.
Collected for decades. And then, but you get to a point in your life, you're like, I really haven't opened these in, 20 years.
It's kind of, yeah.
What am I doing with all these?
Yeah. I mean, I think I have some, I like did not have my old Thrashers from when I was growing up. I had to kind of hide them from my parents and stuff, So it was sort of dicey
to keep them under your bed.
But then when I was like at that period when I was like doing the writing stuff and like my friend was working there, it was a pretty good chunk of period. Like whenever I'd be in San Francisco, you could just go there and like they had like tons of back issues. So you could get like the newsprint era.
So cool.
Yeah. And like, they were, like I said, there was like the music part of it was like, I mean, the skating part was cool, but like the music part was like really cool. Like, I mean, cause like Pusshead wrote for them and like, it was just like,
epic.
Oh my God. Yeah. He would be like, okay, this band is from Finland. You'll never find this record. I think there's only 100 of them they made and you'll never see it, but I'm going to talk about it. And so I remember I had all these, like, I would hear about these bands, like were Japanese bands that were like, wow, I don't know what this band will sound like. It wasn't till like the 90s till I actually heard, like late 90s, I heard some of these bands that he was writing about when I was like in junior high, because they were just so, it was kind of like the internet that really made it like able to hear this stuff. But, it was just really cool to like actually have that. And then to actually be like, I can like literally just like interview like, No Age or Bar or whoever, and just be like, this is just like kind of what's happening right now. It was kind of a cool
putting it in the continuum.
Oh yeah, it was a full circle
of things.
Yeah. Because at that point, I mean, to be fair, like most of the music in Thrasher in whatever year that was, 2006, was like not interesting. You know what I mean? Like they were, it was like a lot of and the guy who I knew, Dan Whiteley, who was like the art director, uh, and he was probably at that point, he was like the senior designer, but I think he became art director right after that. But he was like, he was like putting like really like weird stuff in there, like left field stuff. So it was like off brand, but it was cool that, we're allowed to do that. So I'm glad that you remembered that. That was cool. I totally.
Oh yeah, totally.
I just found it like recently, like maybe, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, I posted it on Instagram. I was like, oh wow, look, I found the issue that with like No Age in it. And I think I posted the page. So, but,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I just found it online. I found the link to it.
Oh, you found a link to it. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's on a website. I don't know.
Oh, that's cool.
It is.
I mean, it's weird because it's weird I have that, but like I was are you guys good archivists like with No Age?
I try. But it takes years, and then I'll forget, or I'll just get fed up. Like, I'm getting rid of this stuff,
dude.
Like, you can only hold on to stuff for so long.
I'm abysmal at.
You gotta get rid of it.
I'm so bad at it. Like we would be like selling, because we kind of did like a Weirdo Rippers thing where we had like a bunch of EPs and stuff and splits, and then we put out put it out on a compilation, and that was kind of like our Weirdo Rippers, and like we kind of, I think we kind of copied you guys on that one because it was a cool idea.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was cool. Might as well, right? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like, and so, but anyway, so where was I going with that? Oh yeah, so but like all those early records, like we would have them at shows or whatever, and then I'd be like selling records or whatever, and I'd be like, oh wait, I think I sold the last copy, and so like there's records I don't have. Like I think we have like a split with, we have a split with Shoo Shoo. I don't have a copy of that. We have a couple weird records. I'd be like, I don't think I have that record. And then all the magazine stuff, like I was terrible at. I mean, I think Thrill Jockey was good at like sending us like PDFs of like press clippings. So I guess I have that, but I don't actually have like just cool stuff that would have been cool to have. Like there was a thing about us in like the New Yorker, and it was like a New Yorker, old school New Yorker style, like illustration, like that kind of, it was kind of, so cool. Yeah, it was cool. Or like, I would love to have that, or I don't know. I think, just stuff like that. Like, I think I have a handful of things, but like,
I would try to give stuff to my mom a lot of times.
Ooh, that's smart.
And, when I would see her and just like, hey, just, because she thinks she'd want to see it, but also knowing that she would probably hold on to it more than I would.
Oh yeah.
And sure enough, she's like, oh, I still have this thing. Do you want these? Like, yes.
Oh, but your mom's way, I mean, I've met your mom a few times. Your mom's cool. Like my mom would have just been like, she like literally, so I had she moved like, she's like 88. She's actually pretty up there, but she's still really like active and healthy, but she moved.
That's incredible.
She moved a couple years ago, and like, she was like I had stashed, basically, so I built this like PA basically that basically bad ways used it, but then it got bigger with high places. It was kind of like, okay, well, Lightning Bolt and Black Dice kind of have their own sound thing, so we need to have kind of like our own, because it was like you couldn't rely, the way we made music, like we couldn't rely on what was going to be in house, so we kind of had this huge PA. So it was like I had like 6 215s, right? And then,
huge.
And then a bunch of horns and stuff. And that was kind of what we were touring with when we toured like locally. And what I did was I have basically 2/3 of it out here in LA. And then I left like 215 cabs. And I feel like I had like, some of it was like, I think it was like the power amps were like Black Dice's power amps. It was like all this, it was like Black Dice's power amps, like my PAs. It was like, at my parents' house, you know what I mean? And my dad passed away, and my mom was moving
boxes.
My mom was moving out, and like we were like going to go out there and help her move, and it was kind of like, it was funny because like she was like, "What do you want me to do with these giant boxes? These suits, like they've just been like in the basement." And I was like, "Well, let me try to see." And so I called up Andrew Different, and I was like, "Hey, does Space 26 want a PA? It's like basically really good." And Andrew's like, yes, we'll totally take it. And Andrew's like,
awesome. He's
like literally like setting up to go to my mom's place. And my mom's like, I gave them to these guys I know who like do like, karaoke. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh no.
So she would just do stuff like that. She would actually give away anything of value that I ever like left there. So like she literally gave away like the High Places, Black Dice, PA. You know what I mean? Like it was just kind of
so funny.
And it was kind of like, it was sort of, I was like, thanks, Mom. But so it was just like, my girlfriend was like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. She was just like, why did she give that away? And I was like, I don't know. And then I had to like call Andrew and be like, hey, my mom actually just, I know you're on the way, but she just like randomly gave it away. Yeah. So, but yeah, if I had left boxes of anything there, she would throw it out. You know, it'd have to be like she just gets rid of anything that's like has any value to it and keeps stuff that just doesn't matter. You know, so that's cool. I mean,
so funny.
But your mom's also way hipper. Like your mom probably saw you guys saw you play, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. She was always stoked to come see us play.
Yeah, I mean, I think, my parents never saw me play music ever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were maybe gonna like we played the Hirshhorn. It was like a Doug Aiken thing, and they were gonna maybe go down for that, but then like they had some huge family get together and they didn't go to that. But that would have been like the only time. And you guys played that, duh.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, right on the National Mall.
Yeah, that's right. They were gonna maybe come to that, but yeah, that was. It
was in the second Obama era, right? Like right towards it's still probably beginning of that second Obama era. Yeah, that show was really fun.
It was pretty wild. I remember just being like, well, of course it was one of those things where it was just like like so dicey with the setup, you know, that sort of was kind of how Doug kind of rolled a little bit. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, okay, so how's this going to work? And, you know, you kind of go into it and you're like not sure. And then it goes over totally fine once it happens. But that was sort of like, I remember that being like that. But I remember like, yeah, that was a pretty, I was surprised how many people were there, like turned out for it.
Oh yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, he's always good at advertising all the stuff. You mean what was sketchy was just the setup, like the? No, I remember the tech side of it.
No, the crowd turnout. I guess it was free, but I mean, it was that whole like sculpture garden part of the mall was just like packed with people. It was a lot of people, so it was kind of.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be like that big, but yeah. Anyway, so like that would have been probably the only time my parents would ever maybe ventured to like see me play music, you know. So a funny thing, I played one time. They went to Florida. They like rented a house down in Florida in the winter because they were like, you know, snowbirding, you know. And this would have been like, I guess I think I can't remember if it was before. I think it was High Places was around, but maybe it was like 2007 or 2008. And I was just like, and I went and visited them. I flew down and I visited them, and I like snuck out and I played a show in Key West, and I didn't even tell them. I was, I like called up this weird gallery, and I was like, hey, there was a kind of like an outsider art, like hippie gallery, like crusty gallery. And I was like, hey, I do this weird thing. Can I play a show? Because I just wanted to be like, I want to play a show in like the most like southern part you could possibly play in the United States, just to be like, hey, I played Key West, because I thought it was weird. So I like literally snuck out, played a show, and like I was like, I'm going to go to check out this like area, and then came back, and it was just, I never told them. They just weren't hip. They were like career military, Catholic, you know.
It's different age too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Gosh. I remember one time we were touring so much, and I was like, she was like, so because I was teaching at Pratt, and they were like, oh, that's really cool. And then I quit abruptly to basically tour. And they were like, my mom was like, why would you quit your stable teaching gig you're not even a musician. You know what I mean? I was like, that was what she said. She was like, but you're not even a musician. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and then one point she was like, can I,
thanks, Mom.
I know. She was like, can I hear it sometime? And I was like, sure. And I think I like had visited them, and I was like leaving, and I just kind of like slid a CD across the table and like ran out the door. And like and then I think my mom was like, I listened to that compact disc and I can hear singing. It sounds like it's in another room down the way, like in a hole maybe. And then the rest of it just sounds kind of like trash cans rolling down a hill. And I was like,
like, there's the blurb.
I know. I was like, you just wrote a bio. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, it was just too out there. So I always thought it was cool. Like when I would see like your mom or like Dean's parents, like at a show, you know what I mean? Like,
they were so supportive.
I always said like I remember like seeing Liars, and like Julian's parents would be at the show, like super amped. And I was just like, that's so cool, you know?
Yeah.
But
Dean's family would roll hard. They'd bring all their friends, and they'd all have like custom shirts and all like triple XL, like weird neon shirts and things. It was a whole thing.
Your guys' merch game was like insane.
Well, we had a silk screen. Dean's mom.
I know,
ran a
it's
silk screen
crazy.
shop, and then his brother, would run them off for us.
Oh my god,
so we got lucky with that one.
Oh my god, you guys were like merch now, but like doing it yourself. I mean, and then I remember the shirt that like Jamal made, and it was just like people just didn't get it like at all.
Oh right, yeah, the 2010 tour shirt.
Yeah, that shirt's so good, and
long white sleeve, kind of sign painted. I mean, it's so funny because it's so of that era.
I know
maybe we were a little ahead of a curve, or who knows? I don't know. I think it was always one of those things. Like I don't think we ever really made it for people. We just made the things that we liked.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like kind of like the music. You know what I mean? Where it was always that thing of like, this looks cool or this sounds good. Okay, yeah. Well, go for it. And then things would be whatever. You're like, I think it's on trend. I think or whatever. I think people will like it. And then and then you find out after you carry boxes of them around for 3 months. Well, if people actually like it or not.
The record, the split I did with Beatrice on PPM, like basically. We just got like Jamal in the mix. We were like, let's just like totally collaborate on this cover with like Jamal. And like cause like, Erst was sort of like my kind of like was like my graffiti thing. Like when I, like my weird short-lived era of that. And like, it was like, basically it was like, I don't know if it was basically like a reference to like, do you know The Faith, the band The Faith? They're like a disc.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was they have a song called You're Exed. And it was basically, that was what The Faith was. So I started like writing that. I started writing that. So he did like totally, he was like, he's like, do one of your like Philadelphia style, like, throw ups and like wickets or whatever. And I'll do like a bunch of like, so it was like really, the whole record was just like graffiti, And so like, that's like one of my favorite, it's like kind of was like the only record I ever collaborated on art wise with someone that wasn't like in the band was Jamal. And then more recently, Rob Lowe and Rose collaborated on the thing I just put out with them. But like, but yeah, having Jamal do your art is just like, it's an honor. But I think it's just like, I remember he did a t-shirt for, do you remember Car Clutch? It was like Ethan and and Beatrice. So he did a shirt for them that was like so gnarly. It was like, it was just like bass kills children. And it was just like, a speaker being like dropped onto a baby, like smashing a baby. Like it was like so insane, but like done Jamal style. And I remember wearing that shirt and getting like weird, dirty looks from like people, like parents, like in the supermarket are like, what are you wearing? Yeah. It was just funny, but yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Jamal's great. He's an institution for sure.
Yeah. Lucky to have worked with them.
Oh my god,
awesome, man. Well, yeah. Well, what are you working on now? I mean, do people follow you? What do you? What do you got going on?
I still record obsessively. Like I said, like Rob Lowe and Rose. I don't know if this got cut in one of the weird cutoff parts. They put out something. It was actually about a year ago, but then I played a show here and there. I've played they sort of forced me to play a show in San Francisco, and so kind of just. I'm thinking about like just what it means to put out music in 2026. It's kind of a weird period.
I know, right?
And it's sort of like I'm like not super into like the streaming thing. So the thing that they put out, it's literally on cassette and that's it. Like it's not digitized, it's not anywhere. And I kind of was like, so I'm in this weird thing of like, well, what if I just put out like only analog things and like it's almost like a time capsule that you bury in your yard a little bit when you put out a tape.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But there's part of me that was like, well, it's what I do is just like, it's kind of like my way of working has always been just like making like little recordings of different things and like sort of collaging them together so the stuff I did with them is like very, kind of krautrock-ish kind of stuff, percussive. And it's just like, it's not like it's in vogue, And so I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like, I mean, I like it, but it's it's like I was like, hey, what if this just stays on cassette? And that's also my weird way of like being like, I have a tendency to like be really over stuff once I finish it and like not want to like think about it. Like I always kind of hate what I do, like once I'm done with it, which is fine because it pushes me forward into the next thing. But so it's sort of a good way to like hide that too. So like if someone got the cassette, that's cool. But I'm not sure. Like, yeah, it's kind of like this weird thing. I was thinking of putting out some stuff maybe with a couple different, on that level with a couple different people, or even just doing it myself, and maybe playing show, trying to, and playing shows feels a little funny these days too. It's like the whole real estate issue with spaces and venues and ticketing and just showing up with $5 at the door. I feel like the only place I would like want to feel comfortable play at this stage is just like back to square one is like the smell or something. It's just something super.
It's still there.
I know.
It's still happening.
I still have keys. You know what I mean? Like,
well, there you go. Yeah, you got to play.
I mean, I've been a while since I've been there, but I think the last time I was there, I think I saw Worm there. Dukowski's band.
Oh yeah.
I think that was
we played with them.
I think that was. Oh wait, did you guys? Maybe
we played that show. I don't know.
Was it?
Remember when they did those the Worm reunion?
Was it
shows
right before COVID? Maybe.
No, it would have been way before then.
Okay, yeah, I think the show I saw the last time I was there was Worm, and it was.
Or no, maybe COVID. Well, what did we do? No, we played shows. Gosh, I don't know. My brain's so fried at this point. Maybe that's when it was. That sounds about right.
I don't remember if you guys played that show or not. But anyway, yeah. So like, but either that or like, I think I helped Jim out and like drywalled the bathroom, which was like talk about like that's like the 7 labors of Hercules. It was just like, I think I went in at like midnight and just was like, I'm just basically stayed there and just re-drywalled the bathroom, which is like, I don't know what I was, somehow I didn't die. I didn't contract anything. Punishment. I don't know. I was just like,
yeah,
but yeah, it was, but yeah, I mean, it was just kind of like, yeah, I mean, it's just, but I haven't seen Jim in a while. We message and stuff, but like, I haven't seen him in a while, And so, but yeah, I mean, it's just like a lot of it, like the whole, like, oh yeah, so the Dice app, and you're like, oh God, I just want to pay my.
Oh yeah.
So is your show? Can we just roll up and pay at the door?
For at the Pedro show? Yeah. I mean, that's what's been fun about doing this Nervous Action project is, we're just playing all local shows and having a lot of fun, and we'll usually open or be somewhere in the middle of a bill with a bunch of people, and it's all just fun, easy shows.
Oh,
it's like you show up and maybe there'll be 20 people. You might be one of 10 people. You might be one of 5 people.
Yeah.
But
I'm stoked.
We figure with everybody in the band, it's, I like playing those shows where it's like there's more band members than audience members. Mm-hmm. We played at this spot in Pasadena, and it was super fun, but it was, it was like a 4-band bill on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And there was, what I mean? So I think that's already like, 25 people, and the place was so small, if everybody's standing in there and then 1 or 2 friends, and it's, it's you can't walk through the bar. Mm-hmm. It's crowded. And you're like, cool, it's perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's all you need.
Our own audience.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a fun fact. So my lady, she has 2 boys, 12 and 16.
Oh, cool.
Right? The 16-year-old's first show was No Age.
Oh, what? Where?
Hollywood Bowl.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, that was his first show. He probably doesn't remember it very
awesome.
well. I think she had to take him up all the way to like the back because it was just like just
it's probably so loud.
Yeah, I mean, he was like probably like, was that 2009 or something, or 2010?
Yeah,
he would have been like a couple years old. So like, but was that like Pavement or something, Sonic Youth or something?
Yep.
I didn't go to. Exactly, I was on tour, but I remember that show. But that's a fun fact.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool, man. Okay. Well, sweet. Well, yeah. Where do people get the split, or where can people get your cassette?
Oh, the cassette. So Rob Lowe and Rose Lazar, they're the most amazing power couple on earth. They do a small press called Adventures Ltd. And they put out tapes, but they put out a lot of books. Put out like unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the last Rich Jacobs book stuff. It was stuff he all did when he was laid up. And it's an amazing book of drawings. But they do a lot of really great stuff. And it can be, assuming they still have copies of it. I don't know where it's at. They might be out of them, but that's that. Or if someone wants to just hit me up on Instagram, I'll send them a link and they can just download it.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's just the Erkst, you know.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and they can.
Awesome.
It's private, but you can add me. I don't care. And then that's how good I am at promotion, is have a private social media accounts. But then yeah, so I mean, again, back to like real quick, like yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with music. I just kind of want to. I'm like really into just putting out cassettes and maybe putting out like some like dub plates or something, like limited edition, like really limited. Just trying to like make back to like my printmaking type mentality of like doing like small editions, and putting stuff on there online, for not that my music's going to get like super eaten up by AI learning or anything, but because it's not going to learn much from what I do. But but just the idea of putting stuff out there, like streaming, just I'm not against it, but it feels funny. So yeah,
it's a weird world.
I'm like the Howard Hughes of home recording. So just basically jars. Just basically, my music is jars of pee on a shelf at this point.
Perfect, awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing it. It was fun. And I get to see you Friday, so I'm very excited. So
heck yeah.
Okay.
Awesome, man. All right, I'll see you there.
Bye-bye.
All right. There we go. The man of the hour, Mr. Rob Barber, the Erkst himself. Thanks, Rob, for coming on. High Places, legendary band. You and Mary made so much great music, and you are a legend as a person as well. Thanks for coming on, Rob. I appreciate it. Everybody be well, do good things. Go see some Spider-Man movies whenever those come out. Is that this weekend? Next weekend? I don't know. I don't know why I'm promoting Disney movies. But yeah. Thank you for listening and supporting independent music and arts. Keep on keeping on. All right. See you Monday. Bye.
But yeah, no, it's just kind of like, it's sort of like, if I was going to drive somewhere, I feel like driving in Pedro would be kind of where I'm kind of like all about Pedro.